Hello and welcome to Blythe Business News. For this edition, I'm joined by Nigel Robinson. Nigel is Chief Executive of AIM-listed Central Asian Metals, often known as CAML because CAML is its ticker on the AIM market. At the close of business last night, the company had a market capitalisation of around £420 million sterling. CAML operates a copper processing operation at the Kunrad in Kazakhstan, and also an underground-led zinc mine at the Sasa mine in North Macedonia. Nigel, welcome back on the programme. You've just released your interim results. Give us the highlights, please.
Well, thanks very much for that introduction, Tim. First of all, can I just put on record on behalf of the company, the CAML board, myself personally, and all the staff here at CAML, our sincere condolences to King Charles III and the royal family for their loss, and also really to pay our respects to Queen Elizabeth II, who was a wonderful woman and a fantastic and inspirational monarch and leader over the past 70 years. And I think it's against that rather sad and somber background, Tim, that I have very positive news to give our listeners about results from Central Asian Metals for the first half of 2022. It's been a record year for us, Tim. Record revenues of close to $119 million with an associated EBITDA, that's earnings before interest, tax, depreciation and amortization, of nearly $75 million, and a free cash flow of $52 million. So very strong financial performance on the back of strong commodity prices. Our balance sheet has strengthened in this period. At the period end, which was 30th of June 2022, we reported a net cash number of $38.9 million. But post that particular cutoff for the year end, Tim, the interim period end, should I say, we have now fully paid down all the debt that we took on when we acquired Sasa almost 5 years ago. That was $187 million of debt, has now been all fully repaid. So strong balance sheet, strong financial performance, and gives me the pleasure of announcing a record interim dividend of 10 pence for the first half of this year. And that represents 40% of that free cash flow number I mentioned before, $52 million. Other highlights: production remains on track for lead and zinc at Sasa, and we're able to uplift and upgrade our guidance for Kunrad from what was 12,500 to 13,500 tons of copper to now 13,500 tons to 14,000 tons of copper at Kunrad, given the very strong performance in the first half. And we've also had a good period in terms of our sustainability related aspects of the business. Good safety record, just one LTI in the period, and also good improvements and advancements on our reporting and other targets that we're working towards.
Well, it's a cracking set of results, Nigel. Congratulations to you and the team. And I'm sure that the city's going to love that dividend because they seem to like those kinds of things. And congratulations on paying that debt down, because those of us watching the company for a long time remember, I think when you bought Sasa, it was the first time you'd taken on debt. So well done on paying that down.
Thank you.
Now, so a fantastic dividend. From your perspective, what have been the factors that have helped you to pay a dividend of that magnitude?
Well, as you know, Tim, I mean, we've had in place now a policy of paying back to the shareholders 30 to 50% of that free cash flow number whenever we announce results. And so, as I said before, that's right in the middle of the range. And given that we have now paid off our debt and we have had a record first 6 months, we felt the confidence to actually announce such a strong number. Now, that's in the middle of the range, so you could argue maybe we could have gone even higher than that. But I think we are conscious and prudent enough as a board and a management team to recognise that as we go into the second half of the year, we are facing some stronger headwinds, effectively, in terms of cost and inflation, particularly in North Macedonia, where we're experiencing some challenges with the electricity prices. You may have read in the papers recently about the troubles that Western Europe is facing this winter, with anecdotally increases of maybe 4, 5, 6-fold increases in electricity prices, and we're not immune to that. So we've recognised that, and therefore I think we've hopefully struck a right balance of a very good dividend, but conscious of trying to save some money for what possibly could be a harder second half of the year.
Okay, let's have a quick word about some of the operational activities.
Yeah.
Let's stay with North Macedonia and the Sasa mine. You've just received the environmental and social impact assessment on the cut and fill project. Can you give us a quick update what's going on with cut and fill, please?
Yes, exactly. That was a key permit, Tim, for us to actually acquire. And as you know, with these things, sometimes when it goes between the company and the government departments, it becomes a little bit outside of your control. So I was delighted when we got that very important permit for ourselves on the 12th of August. That then leads to the delivery of other permits. We're currently awaiting the construction permit to start construction on site of the paste backfill plant, and that will happen in this month, in September. And then construction will be ongoing throughout the winter months, with the intention of finishing construction in the first half of next year, and then starting and commencing the commissioning of that plant, ready for putting the paste down into the underground voids in the second half of 2023. So that remains on track, as we've said, with our investors throughout this period. We've also now finished off the designs and located the ideal place for the dry stack tailings part of the operation, which involves a filtration plant and the engineering of a platform on which to put what they call the dry stack tailings cake. Those designs are being finalised. They'll be finalised by the end of this year, and construction of that part of the facility will take place from the second half of next year. And I guess the final piece of the jigsaw in many ways was the new decline that we're constructing. We're well advanced on that, and we've done well over 1 kilometre of drilling and tunnelling at the moment. And we expect to actually, the surface, where we commenced on the surface and where we started down at 9-10 level, for that to meet around about the second half, the end of the first half of next year. And so far have a complete tunnel from the surface down to 9-10 level. The actual length of the total decline is about 3.8 kilometres. So we're well advanced on that particular aspect of the cut and fill project.
And then let's move on to Kazakhstan, to Kunrad, where you're just about to start constructing a solar power plant.
Mm-hmm.
It might seem an obvious one, but what are the benefits of having a solar power plant at Kunrad?
Well, maybe the benefits aren't that obvious. From an economic point of view, they aren't that obvious in Kazakhstan, because we do enjoy the benefits of very low cost electricity prices, unlike what we're facing in North Macedonia. But we have, as a company, committed to various sustainability targets. And one of those is a 50% reduction on our greenhouse gas emissions by 2030 from a 2020 base. We made great inroads at Macedonia with deliveries from our electricity supplier. But in Kazakhstan, we're a little bit constrained what we can do. And the main area where we can make some inroads into that is by building a solar farm. This is a fairly small, by international standards, solar farm. It's 4.77 megawatts for a cost of around about $5 million. And it will provide around 16 to 18% of the electricity requirements on an annual basis for Kunrad. And so that's the first stage of our inroads into becoming a greener company in Kazakhstan.
Well, let's stay with that theme, and because in the first half of the year, you've also had your first climate change report published.
Yes. Yeah.
So just walk us through some of that and the other ESG initiatives that you're taking as a company.
Yeah, by all means, Tim. We've put out, as you say, the climate change report. That's the first one that we've put out. We've also, over the past 3 years, been putting out standalone sustainability reports covering all of our ESG work within the company. And they've been done to a high standard, to GRI standards. And we're moving that work forward with various initiatives within the company, both for assessing double materiality, which is something which assesses the impact of the company, both on society and the environment, as well as on the value of the company. And then we're also doing some scenario planning analysis for different levels of climate change and what that might have as an impact on us as a business. So we are improving our reporting, trying to comply with all the best standards in reporting. And as we move that forward, we're also looking at tailing standards and how we report on those. So the global industry on tailings management, we're committed to actually reporting to that by 2024. So there's a number of initiatives, primarily on the reporting side, but also specific targets within the company to improve our water management, to improve our waste management. I also mentioned before about the greenhouse gas emission target, which is a 50% reduction by 2030 on our 2020 base. So all these, I think, have been well received by both our investors and also the ratings agencies, people like MSCI, who've recently upgraded us from a BBB to an A, which for a company of our size is a good reflection on the standard of the work that's being done here to actually both report it and actually set in place some objective targets for the company.
Well, Nigel, thank you very much for that update. That was Nigel Robinson, Chief Executive of Central Asia Metals, giving us more background on the financial results announced this morning for the first half of the year, and also giving us a good update there on what's happening in terms of production not just working with the metals and minerals, but also what the company is doing in terms of its ESG credibility. That's it from Blythe Ray Business News for this edition. Thanks for watching.